Hello friends, let's discuss current affairs. We begin with a question on remittances. Remittance is the money sent by a working professional from abroad. That is, if you have someone who's working abroad, a family member who's working abroad, the person sends money home, that's called remittance. So this money that Indians had sent makes us the largest recipient of remittances in the world. We received $135 billion, which is like what, 14% increase over the previous year. Now what you need to understand, my friends, is that majority of this paisa comes from developed countries. 51% of this money comes from the United States. You could say Canada. I'm writing in short, okay, Canada. Then, all right, let's write in full basically. Canada, the UK, United Kingdom, Australia, and to which we can add, I think, Singapore. 5, okay. From these 5 countries, we receive 51% of the total remittances. So what effectively this means is that there have been 2 major things here. What this means is that one, there has been a visible shift from Gulf nations to Western countries. When we say Singapore, we are not talking of Singapore as an Eastern country. We are talking of Western in the sense that developed countries. Now, these countries are home to highly skilled people. We are talking of Indians here. So a lot of Indians have moved to countries like I mentioned here. These are people who are pretty skilled, and consequently they earn more and they send home a lot more money than persons who work in not so skilled professions. Basically they themselves not being very skilled, which would help them earn higher incomes. Now 51% of the remittances came from this. So one, there has been a shift to advanced countries from Gulf countries to more and more what we say remittance is coming from Western countries. This also has broken the stranglehold that the Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain has had on Indian remittances. So that's something about this remittances. Little more we could add is that Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Kerala received 51% of all remittances. So 3 states, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala received 51% of all remittances, but the lowest remittances went to Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan. These earned less than 6% of remittances, to which you could add, in between you could add Bihar as well. So let's bring in Bihar. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan earned, less than 6% of the total remittances. So the top 3 states and the bottom 3 states. Okay. So but remember one thing, more skilled, higher skill would mean higher income, and consequently, a lot more money could be sent home. Because see, when a dollar is sent home, it earns about 85 to 87 rupees in India, which is lot more than it would have, the kind of value, purchasing value it would have back home in the United States. When say back home, where the person is. Okay. So we have been global leader in earning remittances for over a decade, my friends. This is Aush Shetty. He made history by winning, being the first Indian shuttler to win a World Badminton Federation, or Badminton World Federation World Tour title by winning the US Open. Now he won after having defeated, Brian Young. He defeated a Canadian called Brian Young. So in the final, he defeated Brian Young. Okay, this guy belonged to Canada. He belongs to Canada. Now in the women's singles final, there was a Indian finalist, but she lost. Unfortunately, she lost. So the winner was Bevan Chang of China, who beat Tanvi Sharma of India. Tanvi Sharma of India. Okay, Tanvi Sharma. So we got both men's singles as well as the women's singles. Okay, this Lakshya Sen, I looked up the ranking before walking into the studio for this discussion. I looked up his global ranking. He is the highest ranked, Indian on the global stage. He is ranked 18 as of today. 18. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a question about a new app that has been launched by the National Sample Survey, which is a division of the MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It has launched GovStats, which is a mobile application that would help us access authentic government data regarding all development works and other stuff. So what exactly is a National Sample Survey? It's responsible for conduct of large scale sample surveys in diverse fields. What kinds of data can be collected? Most of this data comes through a larger picture, larger data exercise like socio-economic subjects, labor productivity or labor engagement, those kinds of surveys. Now, of course, this I mentioned is a part of the MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, headed by Rao Inderjit Singh. Rao Inderjit Singh. Okay. So, Niti Aayog, you know pretty much a lot about Niti Aayog than I need to share about. Niti Aayog, still let me repeat, Niti Aayog is National Institution for Transforming India. This succeeded the Planning Commission in 2015. Now, one more thing here, ladies and gentlemen, is that it is headed by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the ex-official chairman of Niti Aayog. Okay. Currently, it is headed by BVR Subramaniam. No, it is headed by Parmeshwaran Iyer. Okay. CEO Parmeshwaran Iyer. Now, what about Ministry of Electronics and IT? It is headed by Ashwini Vaishnav. Ashwini Vaishnav. I wrote in reverse, I think. All of these things happen. So, Ashwini Vaishnav. He is also the Minister of Railways. He heads the Ministry of Railways plus the Ministry of INB, Information and Broadcasting. So, he heads three important ministries: Railways, Information and Broadcasting, and MEITY, MEITY, which is the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Of course, Nirmala Sitharaman heads the Finance Ministry. Amit Shah is the boss of the Home Ministry. Hul Divas is a tribute that's it's observed on June 30th. I'll tell you the story. To pay tributes to the sacrifices made by the Santal people in their fight for freedom against justice against the British. Now, not just the British, it included Indians as well. I am talking of Indians as the Jamindars. So, this started, see, these Santal people in today's India, they live across Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha. These are the major places. They are spread across Bangladesh, in Tripura, in Assam, in all the places. But yeah, Chhattisgarh also, but these are the major places. Now, on 30th June 1855, okay, the Santal people rose in rebellion. They rebelled against two entities. One, the East India Company, and two, the Jamindars. So, they were against the Jamindari system and the East India Company because they were pretty exploitative. They were exploitative. They forced farmers to grow things that they didn't want, like the indigo and all that. And not only just that, the Jamindars extracted a great deal of tax. Okay. So, they all rebelled, and their major demand was the removal of the Jamindari system. Of course, that didn't really come about immediately, but this rebellion ended. It was suppressed through series of repressive measures by the East India Company on 6 months it lasted, my friends. It led to the deaths of about 15,000 of our Santal people. So 6 months this happened, and because it started on 30th June 1855, we celebrate Hul Divas. That's it, my friends. Let's go to the National Turmeric Board, which has been inaugurated by the Home Ministry Amit Shah in Nizamabad, which is about 160 kilometers northwest of Hyderabad. Okay, the top 3 producers of turmeric are: 1, Maharashtra. This is India's biggest producer. Number 2 is Telangana state. Okay, Telangana state. 3 is Tamil Nadu. So these are the top 3 turmeric producers in India. Okay, top 3 turmeric producers. Salkhan Fossils Park, is home to 1.4 billion years old fossils. Fossils are remnants of things long gone. Okay, so these fossils are about 1.4 billion years. They say pretty old. That making them pretty old, and they could be found in Sonbhadra in Uttar Pradesh. You know what is the study of fossils? The study of fossils is called paleontology. Paleontology. The study of fossils. Very important study. It helps us understand what things were like in the past, and of course date them as well. Meet Landon Norris. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Landon Norris. He is a Britisher. He comes from the UK, and he drives for McLaren. Okay. So as of today, he is trailing Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri is also British. This guy is currently leading the Formula 1 table, Formula 1 points table. Not much is separating them. In fact, as of today, between Australian Open and today, which is the 11th of July, one more Formula 1 championship has happened, the British Grand Prix, which was also owned by Landon Norris. Okay. Now, as of today, ladies and gentlemen, Piastri is about 8 points ahead of Norris. Okay, and both are from UK, my friends. Both are from sorry. I think Norris is from UK, and Piastri is from if I'm not wrong, what is it? He is from Australia. He is from Australia. Max Verstappen is a four-time defending champion. He has won the world championship in the last 4 years, but he is currently in the 3rd place, doing not so great. See, if this guy has 234 points, this guy has about 186 or 187 points. So quite a distance. Of course, we are halfway through the season, but that's how it is. Which group has agreed to exempt the United States from applying a 15% minimum corporate tax rate? Why? See, the G7 recently met, and they decided that large companies which have an income of over 750 million pounds, 750 million euros, which is about $800 million. These companies are escaping tax by having their operations, their head offices, by registering themselves, their head office in tax haven. Tax haven. A tax haven is one which is a tax shelter. Almost zero tax, 0 to ultra low taxes, 1-2% taxes would be there, generally 0% tax. And you know, if you go and put your money here, no questions would be asked by the bankers. Where did you get this money from? Have you paid your taxes? No questions are asked. So a lot of these companies like, you know, Apple and all, they are putting money in these tax havens. Consequently, they pay less tax because, you know, they say that, look, that's where the head office is. If I have paid there, I don't have to pay here, isn't it? So there is a problem. A lot of companies are escaping taxes, billions in dollars, my friends. Okay, billions of dollars and billions in, you know, the tax dollars. So the G7 said, okay, let's have 15%. If they don't pay anything, at least ask them to pay 15% tax. This measure is called Pillar 2. This 15% tax is called Pillar 2 of the OECD draft, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So this organization comprises about, I think, about 31 countries and headquartered in Paris, developed countries, including the G7. That includes all the G7 as well. They decided that we shall tax them. We shall tax them. If small companies are paying such big taxes, it is only natural that big companies which make a lot more pay more taxes. But they are escaping by registering themselves in, you know, countries with low taxes. So now let's force them to pay more taxes. Okay, so that's the idea. But America has got exemption that G7 countries will not has exempted the United States from applying this. So the US as of today won't apply this on their companies as of today. But there has been a growing cry, especially if you look at Joe Biden, the previous president, the Democrat president. He wanted the companies to pay tax, 15% tax. But Donald Trump is not in favor of that. Okay. Now we have often heard of the G20, the G7, the European Union. We have not, and we are quite familiar with Quad as well. What is the G7? G4. The group of 4 has 4 countries, as the number says. These 4 countries would be India, okay, Japan, Germany, Brazil. Okay. These 4 countries support each other's candidacy for a seat, a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. So as of today, they don't have a permanent seat, but they want each other to have, you know, to have their back in while demanding a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. So this is called the G4. G4. Name the new chief of the Research and Analysis Wing. The Research and Analysis Wing, as you know, is India's foreign intelligence agency, external intelligence agency. The internal one would be called Intelligence Bureau. This is RAW. This guy's designation won't be Director General or anything. Parag Jain would be called Secretary R. This will be his designation, Secretary R. Okay. He reports more or less directly to the Prime Minister of India, National Security Advisor, and then Prime Minister of India. I think we discussed these numbers, and by the way, those of you who are not greatly familiar, I think this was started in 1968. Research and Analysis Wing was started in 1968. Meet Petongtong Shinawatra. This is the former Prime Minister of Thailand. Okay. The Constitutional Court of Thailand has suspended the incumbent Prime Minister Petongtong Shinawatra because she apparently had discussed a few things with the Cambodian former strongman and still the Lord of Cambodia called Hun Sen. Hun Sen. Hun Sen was dictator of Cambodia, which is a neighboring country of Thailand, on its east actually. He was ruler of Cambodia between 1984 and till recently, 2023. But he has now become the super power, I mean the main power. His son runs the presidency. Hun Sen and she talked. In that she made certain comments about some army general in their country. That entire audio was leaked by Hun Sen. Why and all that? It's an entirely different story. So, ladies and gentlemen, she has been accused of, unethical dealings and all that stuff. So, she has been more or less suspended. Okay. Since then, after her, there have been 3 prime ministers, acting prime ministers. Right now, the acting prime minister as of 11th July is a guy called Phumthum Vichachai. Vichaya Chai. In some places you may find single E, no problem. Vichaya Chai. He is the current acting prime minister of Thailand. Thailand is a constitutional monarchy, so there is a Raja here whose name is Maha Vajira Longkorn. Vajira Longkorn. This is the name. Mahavajira Longkorn is the king of Thailand. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago, and archipelago, as you know, is a a group of islands. Okay, and it's also the most populous, 4th most populous country in the world, and the most populous Muslim country. Its prime minister is its president is Prabowo Subianto. He was there in India recently. Prabowo Subianto. Cambodia, the president is Hun. I'll write in black here, M-A-N-E-T, Manith, Hun Manith. Hun Manith. Philippines, another archipelago. The president here is Marcos Bong Bong. Yes, that's the name. Bong Bong Jr. Marcos Bong Bong. Malaysia, prime minister is Anwar Ibrahim. To deepen maritime cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, which group has launched its first ever Coast Guard at Sea Quad observer mission to boost maritime cooperation. Quad. The Quad comprises 4 countries, as you know. India. I think I'm touching this. India, United States, Japan, and Australia. These 4 countries have come together to form, they say that we need to come together to ensure that there is a rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific, which China is challenging today. So, let's look at the choices. I think we all know about SCO, we discussed last class, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. ASEAN we know, NATO we know. Why don't we look at these 2? Let's look at SAARC. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Let me repeat, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Okay, this was started, let me just bring in the date here, only in this case, 1985. Its headquartered or its secretariat is in Kathmandu, which, as you know, is the capital of Nepal. Okay, and let's go past this. It has 8 members. Before I discuss this, the names of the members, its Secretary General is a Bangladeshi diplomat, Ghulam Sarwar from Bangladesh. Okay, 8 countries. The 8 countries would be, let's say we are in India, okay, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives. These are the members. See this. India, just around India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, 8 members. That's about SAARC. ASEAN is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. South Asian Association for Regional I think I just stuck in SAARC. The SAARC. SAARC is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Let me repeat, Association of Southeast Nations. See, this Association of Southeast Asian Nations, I think was started in 1967. Though I had mentioned that I would not mention the year, I would not repeat, say anything about the year. I think it was established in 1967. It has 10 members. 10 members. Okay. We have, we can look at it this way. Myanmar, I think you don't really require these numbers. But anyway, since I have mentioned this, I will take you there. Okay. Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, it is a pretty large country, everywhere, Singapore, Brunei, it is a tiny place, and Malaysia. How many have come? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 have come. Yeah? That should be fine, my friends. So, geographically I have placed them, nothing more than that. Which space agency has launched a dual purpose satellite named Greenhouse Gas and Water Cycle Observation Satellite? JAXA has done this, yes. And look at what does it say? The mission will aid in understanding of rate of climate change. It's that climate is changing, but what rate? What's the pace? What's the pace? At the rate of climate change by monitoring greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, GHGs, as well as it will also enhance, raise our understanding of what is essential of the water cycle, because without water cycle, the life on earth cannot sustain. So, that is the purpose of this satellite, my friends. Okay. According to the IEP, Global Peace Index, which country continues to lead its position as the world's most peaceful country? All 5, okay, in the same order. World's most peaceful country, Iceland. Second, Ireland. Third, New Zealand. Fourth, Austria. Fifth, what is that? Switzerland. Okay, these are neighbors. World's most peaceful countries. Bottom 3 would be, they ranked 163 countries. Okay, 163. They said most violent is Russia, least peaceful is Russia. 162 is Ukraine. Don't you think it should be reversed? 161 is there is one African country. 161 Sudan. These are the 3 most violent countries in the world, least peaceful countries, and India's rank was 115. This is India, 115. Okay. See, why I told you why we should not trust these rankings, because recently on the global hunger index, Zimbabwe was ranked 104th or something, 104th or 100 something. And India was ranked about 111, something like that. Means Zimbabwe was ranked better off, it was better off than India when it came to hunger management. And recently India sent 1,000 tons of wheat to Zimbabwe. So, which is better off? So, this is the problem with these rankings. The 2025 Wimbledon Championship is underway. Apart from Wimbledon, which of the following is part of the Grand Slams in tennis? The year starts with Australia, typically in January. French Open, May, April, May. Wimbledon now, July, June, July. And US Open, I think, is in September. Is in September. It is in, it's in September. So, these are the 4. A person who wins all the 4 in a single calendar year is said to have achieved a Grand Slam. Grand Slam. Now, even if it's not consecutive year, but if it's, let's say, over, US Open and Wimbledon this year and Australian Open and French Open next year, it's still a Grand Slam. 4 consecutive means all the wins should come in order basically. To bolster the security framework of AEPS, Aadhaar enabled payment system, it's already mentioned, so I don't really have to discuss this, but Aadhaar is run by an organization called UIDAI, Unique Identification Authority of India Limited. Unique Identification Authority, I think I yeah, Unique Identification Authority of India. It's headed by Bhuvanesh Kumar. It's headed by Bhuvanesh Kumar. Yeah, he is the CEO, Bhuvanesh Kumar. Which African country has launched a climate resilient wheat initiative in collaboration with India's Arima Farms and CSIR. CSIR is Center for Council for Scientific and Industrial Relations. Council for Scientific and Industrial Relations. Now, Ghana has done this. Ghana is a tiny country. You can actually look at it here. Yeah, here. This is Ghana. This one. This is Ghana. Okay, it's the world's second largest producer of cocoa. Okay, which is the largest? The largest producer is Ivory Coast. This is Ivory Coast. You see this here? This is the largest producer of cocoa, and this is the second. Number 2, number 1. Now, Ghana's capital is Accra. Its president is John Mahama. His full name is John Mahama Dramani, but you could write this John Mahama. John Mahama. Okay. The rest we can take just capitals, otherwise there will be information overload, which I am okay with. Nigeria, this is Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa. By the turn of the century, it will be the 3rd most populous country on the planet. 546 million. That would be 54 crores in this tiny country. How small is this area? 9.7 lakh square kilometers. It would have 54 crore people in that area. Nigeria's capital is Abuja. Kenya, Nairobi. Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Tanzania, you see, this is Tanzania. The capital is Dodoma. Earlier it was Dar es Salaam, now it's Dodoma. The Tanzanian president Samia Suluhu was in India recently. Ethiopia's Prime Minister is Ahmed Ali Abiy Ahmed. He is a Nobel Peace Laureate. Kenya's president is William Ruto. Nigeria's president is Bola Tinubu. Bola Tinubu. So, plenty of guys here you can learn more from. What is the name of the web-based platform launched by the Jal Shakti Ministry to forecast village level inundation? Sea flood. I tried to look around for its full form. I couldn't get any. Okay, but Jal Shakti, what does it do? It gives a 2-day forecast for inundation forecast at the village level, which is pretty good, my friends. Yeah, it saves life, property, and everything. Now, Jal Shakti Ministry is headed by Chandrakant Chandrakant Raghunath Patil, CR Patil. He is the Minister for Jal Shakti. Which framework is being launched by the Ministry of Coal headed by Kishan Reddy? Kishan Reddy. For inclusive mine closure and community development, reclaim. This is what it is. Trust me, when I went through this, I was like, wow, it is a lot of things for me to digest. Reach out, R for reach out, envision, co-design, localize, act, integrate, maintain. So what is reach out? What? Understand. To reach out is to understand. You know, the other's viewpoint. Here in the case, community, all that stuff is there. Yeah. Ministry of Coal is headed by Kishan Reddy. What was the gross NPA? Gross. We normally pronounce it as gross. It is gross. What is it? Gross. Gross domestic. Gross national. Sorry, I am so sorry. G. It is NPA. Gross non-performing asset. Gross non-performing asset. What's a non-performing asset? When a bank does not receive the principal or the interest or both within 90 days from the due date, of the maturity date or the due date, such a loan becomes an NPA, non-performing asset. Let me repeat. A bank lends out money. It expects it to perform interest, it's an asset basically. When it gives you its cash, its money, it is giving you its asset. So it expects that asset to earn something for it, perform something for it, earn income. But if the principal or the interest or both are not repaid within 90 days from the due date, the bank would treat such loan as non-performing asset. As of today, it is going down. 2.3% of all the money that the banks have lent out, 2.3% is NPA. It's not coming back. It's doubtful or bad or whatever. 2 years back, it was 2.8%. Now it's actually 2.3%, which means that the quality of asset is improving. Yeah, it's a good thing for the banks. Which country's leader was conferred with the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago by its President Christine Kangaloo? This, ladies and gentlemen, is West Indies. Okay, this is Trinidad and Tobago. This area. Its capital is Port of Spain. Port of Spain. You would find that nearly more than 1/3 of the population is of Indian origin, and its prime minister today is a guy called Kamla Persad Bissessar. Kamla Prasad Bissessar. The British had taken Indians to, in the 19th century, to work in their colonies abroad, and people stayed back, and these people are persons of Indian origin, born abroad, citizens abroad, but their forefathers were born in India, were of Indian origin. So that's how it is. That's the capital of Port of Spain. So wherever the Prime Minister is going these days, he is getting their that country's, the host country's highest price. Which country has passed the landmark policy bill, One Big Beautiful Bill? It's a very complicated thing. We will discuss this as the first question in the next class. That includes tax cuts, spending boost for defense and the immigration crackdown. Donald Trump, he says this will be my legacy. This will be my legacy. So my presidency, he says, will be defined by this one big beautiful bill. That's what he said. Yeah. So United States. The 4th International Conference on Financing for Development was held in Sevilla in Spain. The major agenda item is this, finding funding for realizing the sustainable development goals. There are 17 of them. 1, no poverty. If you look at number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, yeah, sustaining maritime life, taking care of the ocean, the marine life and all that. That's number 14 here. Yeah. So, number 13 climate action. So, things were going okay till COVID happened. So, a lot of things got reversed. Who became the first Indian actress to be awarded a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame? Hollywood has this area which is a kind of T shape basically. It's a 2.1 square kilometer area, a 2.1 kilometer length area, and as of today there are 2,813, can you believe this, stars, and this is the first time an Indian actress has got one. Deepika Padukone. Yeah. Which institution has committed 460 crores to the IndiGrid to build India's largest standalone battery energy storage system project in Gujarat? International Finance Corporation. As you know, this is a division of, this is a private sector division of the World Bank. The World Bank. Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is headed by, this organization is headed by Makhtar Diop. Makhtar Diop is a managing director, and he is from a country called Senegal. Senegal, it's a country in Western Africa. Last class we discussed all of these basically, IMF, New Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, AIIB. So, let us not get there. Under a new undersea surveillance project, pact rather, India has begun a 3-year joint research project aimed at enhancing early detection and tracking of submarines and autonomous underwater vehicles with Australia. Because Australia and India have a common enemy, China. So, we are greatly worried about what the Chinese are doing in the, in the South China Sea, in the Andaman, in the, the Indian Ocean. So, consequently, both countries having a common enemy have come together to build, to deepen maritime cooperation, to build, to deepen defense cooperation, and this is a step in that direction. Okay. So, is anything else? Not really. Fair? That's all from me. Have a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Stay curious.